Here's how we booked 36 new meetings in the last 18 days by using cold email. No cold calling, no clay, no automation hacks, just a proven system that works with proof to support it. So here's a screenshot from what we did from September 10th to September 28th. You can see that we enrolled about 2,000 new leads. From that, we had a reply rate of 2.5%, a positive reply rate of 88%, and that generated 45 opportunities, positive responses, marketing, qualified leads, people asking for more information, people asking to get on calls with you. So let's go ahead, we'll jump right into it. So if you're watching this video right now, you're likely either a B2B founder, a startup founder, or maybe you're a sales rep like an SDR or a full cycle AE in one of these organizations, and you just aren't getting any traction with your outbound, or maybe you're not even running outbound at all. Maybe you made the mistake that so many other founders make, which is starting with ads or just thinking that they can hire a freelancer off of Upwork to get similar results as a professional outbound firm. So you're likely scattering your messaging across too many verticals. We'll talk more about this later, but you're probably just messaging too many people. You might have a generic offer that doesn't resonate, and you might even still be looking for product market fit or message market fit. Typically, if you're maybe like a content agency or a marketing agency or even a lead development like agency like myself, you can pretty much sell to everybody. You know, like if you help people with content, the possibilities there are essentially endless. We're going to talk more about how to niche down in that, but I just wanted to mention that up front. You're also maybe trying to personalize at scale before you've proven a message offering that works at a lower level. Maybe you bought into the hype around hyper personalization or clay. And nothing personally against clay. I haven't even worked with the tool that much before. We do use it for some clients, but I really don't see the reason why. If you have good messaging and you have good targeting, you don't need to waste money on the clay credits. Also, thinking that generating deal flow is just something that you can set and forget or hand off to one of your reps. So a lot of people see cold email primarily and LinkedIn as something that, I can just buy some type of automation tool or sequencer like Instantly or Smart Lead, and I'm just going to set it up once. I'm going to press start campaign, and I'm going to get 4 to 5 meetings a week doing that. That is not how it works. You do want to hire a professional for this, or you're going to have to dedicate, hours and hours of deep research and learning to really get this down. To give you an example here, benchmark typically, 4 to 5 emails per week. That's good. That's typically pretty solid. For one of our clients, this client right here, we're booking on average 8 to 11 meetings every single week, having people reply like on Sundays and Saturdays. That's when you know you're working with somebody that has a good offer. That's when you know that you do have a good offer as a B2B founder, is when people are taking time out of their weekend to respond to you. So tell me if this looks familiar. Typical cold email campaign, like I just mentioned, you get a bunch of leads, you pay for all the credits off of Apollo, maybe you even paid for a Zoom info license, or maybe you're just trying to web scrape manually. And you're thinking in the back of your head, you're thinking, if I get a list of 20,000, 30,000, 50,000 contacts that I could sell to, and I just send them a bunch of emails to everybody, I'm eventually going to reach a point where, I get some responses and, people are buying in and they're, wanting to hop on calls with me. Not how it works. You're wrong. Cold email, you have to start small and then test. And we'll get into that later. Maybe you have just a generic offering that can be for anyone. There's nothing wrong with working within one of these verticals. For example, like I mentioned earlier, the content agencies, lead gen agencies, people that work a niche service, but they can sell to everybody. Maybe you just have wide targeting, no trigger events. You just told maybe like your VA to pull 30,000 leads that we can sell to and just blast it out messaging to them. All in all, you're not truly understanding or respecting your ICP and how your solutions, or how your solutions fix their problems. So that's your typical case. Now, what can you start doing differently to get better results? So this is our actual process, like overview. Maybe you've seen this before if we've worked together. But you can see like there's a standard process to follow to get results with this. So deep research, that's where you want to start. Where is your prospect's mind at? And you're going for one person. You're not going for a multitude of different industries or different verticals to start. One person. Amazon literally leaves an open chair at some of their meetings where it represents their niche, like John. So they have a chair for John, and that's exactly who they're selling to. Now, at this point, Amazon has a ton of different ICPs, right? A ton of different niches that they can sell into. But there's still that core component of who you're going after. What are their demographics? Where do they live? What is their mindset like? What books do they read in their free time? What podcasts do they listen to? What shows would they watch on Netflix when they have like a free hour? What groups are they involved in? All of that stuff should go into your deep research and your market research. So, like I said, looking for, pain. Where's the pain? Where can your solution fit? Trigger events. This can be either macro industry data, so everything across the industry that's going on, or it could be internal data, which is maybe like somebody's recently hired, trigger events like that. The external research, the persona interviews, you should be running early on, if you can do it, some type of market research calls. You can try to sell to these people after you've run some meetings with them, but ideally up front, you're just trying to get data. You're trying to get insight into what are these people actually facing, and this should have been done when you build out the product. If you jump the gun and you build the product without running market research calls parallel to this, it's okay. You're going to have to press on the brakes a little bit, but it's time to start running some market research calls. And there's an easy way to do that inside of cold email that I can teach you about. So as far as your persona, like I said, going for one person and one person only. You're wanting to spend time on this. This is not something where you want to rush through it or not even think deeply about it. Carve out some time where you can be alone, no phone, no Slack, no emails, and like take a walk and truly think about what are these people experiencing. The more data you have up front, the better. But this is something that we spend 3 to 5 days dedicated around outlining everything about your persona. Books they read, podcasts, groups, activities, fears, wishes. Like I mentioned earlier, you're really getting granular with this. So think about persona, pain, your offer that you're building. How can you message that in the appropriate way? And then selecting the channel. The channel that is best to start with this is cold email, and I'll explain why in a second. Now, offer anchoring. If your offer isn't easy to say yes to, your copy and how matter you personalize it or write it or change something. You can have copy that has typos in it and it still converts. Sometimes the typos convert better than the regular copy. But if your offer is not good and not a no-brainer offer, you need to do some work there. Literally just go to YouTube and look up Alex Hormozy videos. He has stuff out there that's amazing for just creating offers to get you off the ground. The offering for the client where you're seeing all these meetings come in, the 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 per week, their offer is rock solid. And it's very difficult for people to deny, even at the first cold touch point. So the more people that you can serve, the more work that must be done here. So, speaking to the content and the lead gen guys, or even if you're like B2B SaaS and you're maybe like a communication platform, communication platforms can really go to everyone, right? That could be like a very small church. It could be like a, insurance agency of 5 people or 2 people. Or it could go all the way up to like Coca-Cola, like all those people use communication platforms. So this is why you have to do that work on the front end. Got a call. So that's why you have to do all of that work on the front end. So what can you do starting today? And this is after you've already taken that time to do the deep research, spend 3 to 5 days, thinking about, what is this person actually facing, running market research calls, talking to your ICP, messaging them on LinkedIn, and getting them on a call to do some deep research. What can you do to start to systematize this process? So write some copy, make sure your offer is rock solid, then send 100 outbound messages. Track how many replies are you getting every day, how many are positive, and how many calls are you generating from those 100 outbound messages you're sending. Then from there, adjust one component of your offering. Now, if you aren't even landing in the inbox or you aren't getting any replies at all, you might want to check your deliverability, whether you're doing cold email or messaging people on LinkedIn. Sometimes, that obviously takes time to set up. Cold email typically takes about 2 to 3 weeks to actually get set up and working right. So change one component of your message, of your offer, and then test again. You're ideally looking to get to the point where you're booking one call for every 100 messages that you send. That's a good pace to be on, to at least start. Keep testing to find the best performing copy for that persona. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people believe that cold email is something that is just automatic and you just press start campaign and the meetings roll in automatically. There's a ton of work that has to go on behind the scenes. So you're always testing the offer, you're always making changes and pivoting just very slightly to keep that consistency of meetings rolling in week after week. This also goes along with the reply handling. People don't just reply and book meetings. Sometimes they need a Loom video. Sometimes they need some type of follow-up. Maybe they need 3 or 4 nurture messages to actually convince them to book a meeting and speak with you in a purchase conversation, and not just speak with you in terms of trying to get something for free from you, but like getting on calls with actual buyers. So I already went over what typical cold email looks like. So here's what we did differently, and here's what you can copy. So one ICP, a strong foundation and understanding of the ICP. We were not trying to sell to everyone. We were trying to sell to one vertical in one location, and we had one offer for one specific pain point that these clients were facing. And we targeted them by city, specific job, title, and role, and one strong offering. Now, I know that you're looking at this as a B2B founder and like, how is this scalable? You're either going to have to dedicate time to it or you're going to have to hire somebody for it. I'm just going to be like blunt honest. You can spend, 3 to 4 hours out of your day doing this, or you can be smart and hire professionals. Volume only works in cold email once you have validated messaging at a lower level. You will see a lot of people that will say volume solves all issues and volume, solves all your problems. That is true for content marketing, I believe. I believe the more content that you can push out there, the better. For outbound, it's almost an inverse of that relationship until you have dialed in your offering. Once you've dialed in your offering and you've validated that it works, then you can scale that to the entire TAM. Like if you look over here, that's quite literally the overview of our process at a high level. Is if we're hitting these benchmarks, getting calls on the calendar, then we start to scale that to the entire TAM. And this is an entire process that does take time to build out. Volume only works in cold email once you have validated the messaging at a lower level. So don't do it backwards and send a ton of volume and try to figure out your offer as you go. Because the issue there, at least with cold email, is you're going to run into deliverability issues because all of your domains are getting, not interested, blocked, spam, and then you start trashing your domains. So how to make sure you just avoid those one-off, luck campaigns. A lot of people are going to say, oh, this campaign was luck, or how many times can you do this? We'll take a quick look at our results real quick. This was across just a 7-day period, 29 new opportunities, marketing qualified leads. This is a screenshot from my phone one day. You can see within 3 hours, a ton of new opportunities rolling in. This was another one like across a 10-day period, 20 marketing qualified leads coming in for a SaaS. You can see high open rates, high reply rates. Additional screenshots here across shorter time frames. This one right here, just within 1 day, we sent we sent 353, and we had 9 opportunities come from that. 7 people booked on the calendar from that Friday to Sunday, because we had 2 come in on Sunday. Another screenshot from across the month of July, 100 new opportunities generated. So What can you do right now? What are some actual strategies you can follow? Offer a partnership, not a pitch for your services. Don't start with, hey, do you want a demo? Or can we have a sales conversation about this? Obviously, nobody says that in outbound, but people do say, hey, do you want to start with a demo? Hey, can we show you how this works? And that is too centric on your part. You have to be thinking about your ICP and what are the problems that they're running into on a day-by-day basis. Nobody cares how much revenue you've generated. Nobody cares really about the clients you've worked with. It does help with building that status delta, but you do have to talk about what your clients are going through. So what we did for this client is we approached it with an angle that was only relevant to that market segment, and we flipped the dynamic of pitching and changed that into where, hey, this is an opportunity for you. The CTA was easy, no large funnel. We didn't spam these guys either, or bragging about results. Just transparent, letting them know what we were doing and letting them know that with a strong, clear offer. Go after one persona. So for us, owner operators, but you want to be sure that you're writing to who owns the problem you are solving. Not everyone at the company, not everyone that can receive your offer or get it. You can try some forwarding strategies where you get somebody from the office to forward it over. But when you are writing these emails, you're thinking about one person. You're not selling to the company. You're not selling to Coca-Cola. You're selling to one persona at one company. So keep that in mind. Short sentences, no buzzword, like real talk. I mean, for cold email nowadays, try to keep it under 60 words if you can, probably like 3 different lines. One line can hit harder than like 500 hyper-personalized emails with building like a clay table, and it like will pull their LinkedIn and it will write a personalized statement. That can work, but I have not seen it be more effective than just keeping your emails short, high level, and impactful with a good offer. So you don't have a tool problem. You don't necessarily need more software unless you're like sending these out manually through Gmail or HubSpot. You have a clarity problem. As a founder or startup that has just landed their pre-seed, seed, or Series A, you don't have the time or mental bandwidth to focus exclusively on becoming an outbound expert. You don't have time to sit there for 10 hours a day and craft angles and mess with campaigns. Your job is to develop a strong product with product market fit and message market fit, and develop a clear, well-working offer. I can obviously help with all of that, but that should be your ideal focus as a founder. How can you ideate on moving the company forward with a clear and powerful offer? Buying more software won't save you either. The tools amplify, but they don't fix bad messaging. The offer is the copy. You don't need to spin there. And I've talked to founders or also sales reps that will literally write the copy before they come up with the offer, or before they build like a targeting list of who they're going after for their ICP. That's backwards. So start narrow, like with one ICP, then write the copy for it, and then scale. The market doesn't reward complexity or how cool your stuff is, or like a sexy startup or branding. It rewards relevance. I have worked with some companies and also like talk to companies that do not have sexy websites, that do not have, it's not a sexy startup, it's not extremely like streamlined or sleek or anything. They just have a rock solid offer that beats everybody. Now, you may be asking, how do I know this will work for me? You don't, especially if you have never tried this before. And even if you have, you're probably watching this video and like, Will, I've tried cold email, it didn't work. It can work. Cold email, cold LinkedIn is still one of the best ways to get in front of people and book meetings in 2025. Look at the results. But there is also a reason you're likely still watching this video. It's also why you should test small first, like what I've been talking about this entire video. You're not going in there and just launching these massive campaigns. We build your foundational copy, we launch a controlled campaign, and prove ROI before we actually scale that to your entire TAM. This system adapts to your buyer and not the other way around. So you may be thinking, we're just going to hire sales reps or SDRs instead. We're going to go on Upwork and get like a guy for, $20 an hour and he's going to do outbound for us. The reality of that is that SDR is likely not going to care that much. Just to be honest with you. Don't know if you've seen this before, but that's the reality. You come in, you think you have a great product, unless you're getting buy-in and unless, you're, hiring properly, which is something that I struggle with personally. Like, I'm not the best talent person out there, to be honest with you. I've learned a lot in the last year, and I have some great people on the team, but that in of itself, finding good talent is a huge challenge, and you're going to burn the candle at both ends, both with finances and then also with your brand perception, your mental energy, because you're putting all this time into training this rep and getting them to buy into your product. 99% of early stage startups hire reps before they even have a proven outbound process. They're just trying to hire the rep and hope that they figure it out. That would be the same as hiring a Formula One driver before you even built the car or you even have a team, or you even have a team name at that. The reps you get aren't going to create message market fit. They are there to execute it. So sales reps, SDRs, they are not there to generate demand. They are there to capture demand. If you're looking for demand generation, then you need to go down the path of professional services. People that understand product market fit, people that understand message market fit, people that understand how to start small and then scale this. So if your outbound playbook isn't dialed, you're just paying someone to essentially burn through leads faster. So ad guys, we're thinking about just running ads instead. Paid ads are great after you validated your message. If you see somebody running ads for 3 months plus, it's working. They're not going to keep spending, their ad spend on that. But if your outbound doesn't convert at small scale, aka cold email, which can be scaled to a large volume, cold email is a much more cost-effective approach. You can get in front of tens of thousands of people for much less than what you would spend on ads with people just scrolling through them and thinking that you're testing messaging. You're just going to burn through your cash. So your ads won't fix that. They're just going to pour gasoline on confusion. I talk to a lot of founders that are running ads too early and they're getting on calls with extremely unqualified buyers and they can't close because their offer is not good enough. Outbound is the fastest, cheapest way to validate demand before you start burning cash on clicks. It's not an either or, it's a sequence. So outbound first, then you would install a sales trained sales team that is specifically focused on inbound sales, and then ads. So these guys are to help with your closing. You're not sure if outbound will work for you. You want to rely on content and brand building. Brand building is a very long process. If you're looking to get to market and you're looking to have relevant conversations, you're looking for cash in the door, if you're going to do that through brand building or just content, you're going to probably spend, years doing this, if I'm being completely honest. Outbound always works. The question is whether it actually makes economic sense for your business. So if your average deal size ACV is low and your total addressable market, aka your TAM, is small, you are going to likely run out of buyers before you break even. Now, this doesn't mean if you're just targeting 1 or 2 cities that you can't do this, or you have probably a unique offering. Unique offerings typically work better over cold email, but like if you're like the local, bracelet person that sets up at the flea market or at the farmer's market, every Saturday, cold email is not the best avenue for you. But if you are selling a B2B offer with healthy margins and a real buyer base, outbound is the fastest, most predictable way to grow. So the math, has to make sense, but the channel itself, cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling, it works every single time if it is set up right. So all in all, outbound isn't a guessing game. It's a system that when designed well can pump out 10 plus new meetings every single week. So highlights, what do you need to do? Message clarity. Know exactly what to say and who to say it to. One persona. Offer validation. prove the offer converts before scaling it and trying to get it out in front of everybody. Get it out in front of everybody that it would be relevant with to start. When you think about everybody in the beginning, you're thinking about those 100 people that you know that, hey, this person could probably buy my product. It's going to solve their problems. It would genuinely be a good fit. Get in front of those people to start. Pipeline predictability. The goal is to wake up the book calls, not guesswork. You don't want to be going from, maybe 1 week you relied on referrals and content, and maybe you're already running ads, or you're thinking about that, and you end up with maybe 1 week was good, and then I talked to these guys where for 3 weeks they didn't get anything. You don't want that. So if you want to learn how this can work for your own business, I'm going to put a link in the description. We can talk further, but I hope this video helped. If you do have questions over this, don't hesitate to leave a comment, because I am going to be making more content, just Loom screen share videos like this. So don't hesitate to leave a comment, and I will get back to you in the comments and likely make a video over that, considering I'm ramping up my YouTube again. So I do appreciate your time for watching this video all the way through. I hope it was helpful, and I will talk to you soon.